All right, Mob, welcome back to the 4th and 31 podcast, your one-stop shop for all things SEC and college football. Don't forget to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a show. I am your host, part of the Killer Bees broadcasting team, the Chad Bolick, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Bo, and the man that signs our paychecks, the boss, Scott. All right, Mob, this show we're going to be going over SEC games, and in the comments, let us know if you agree or disagree on the games that we go over. Gentlemen, we'll start with an easy one. Citadel at Ole Miss. No way Ole Miss wins, or no way Ole Miss loses. Bo?
I don't think there's a whole lot more to say about this. This is one of those games. I tell you why these games are good. While we fans gripe about this and we say we do not want to watch games like this, this is great for the coaching staffs because this is like a third bye week. The really good coaching staffs, they're gonna do things like self-scout, self-evaluate. They already probably have the next week's game plan in, and they've probably already looked at film over the course of their last 3 or 4 games, kind of looking ahead. Because what you have to understand about these SEC teams, and I mean these big schools like this, like your Ole Misses, they have a film department. They have GAs watching film, breaking down film, scouting film, taking notes, and they're going to come up with a notebook, probably 400, 500 pages thick, on one opponent. And then they're going to take that information, give it to the coordinator, and then the coordinator is going to decide what he wants to do. So while we gripe about it, coaches love them.
Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything he just said. And also, games like this, you get to see players that don't often get to play. A lot of good playing time with some of these young kids. So that's why I look forward to games like this. But, yeah, I mean, Ole Miss will run away with this, and this one will be over quick. So
yeah, you'll probably see a lot of Austin Simmons this week, so he'll get some reps. Because, guys, you're one play away from your season being over. Or your backup quarterback coming in prepared, ready to play. So that's always a benefit too.
Yeah, this will be a stat pad game for Chambliss. I think we can all agree on that. All right, let's move on to the Michael Vick game of the week, the Georgia Bulldogs against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. It's in Starkville. Starkville can get a little rowdy at times. Scott, let's start with you. What do you think about this one?
A lot of bell ringing. As much as I'd love to see State, win this game, I don't think that's going to happen. Georgia's just too big, too strong, and again, what did we say last week? They're Jason Voorhees, man. That they just don't die. You can stab them 1,000,000 times, and they're. I don't care. I wouldn't be surprised at all if State finds a way to keep it close in the first half, but Georgia's going to run away with it in the second half. I don't think State has much of a chance. They have a lot of fight in them, and I know that first half should be interesting, but after that, this game will be over.
Bo?
Yeah, that's been Georgia's pattern all year, man. They've been slow out of the gate, and in the second half, they really control the pace of the game in the second half. So if you were interested in making a play on this game, I would look at Mississippi State first quarter, first half. Also, I think I found a 10 out there, or a 9.5 or 10. That's a little enticing. I mean, it's hard to win on the road. I don't care who you're playing in the SEC. You're hard to win the conference games on the road by that margin. And Mississippi State has been a scrappy football team. They have played so hard every game all year. And like you said, Scott, I wouldn't be shocked if halftime if Mississippi State was even up. Because we've seen Georgia kind of do that all season, but I think we all know who's got the better players, and for Georgia it's just win and move on, win and advance. So basically from here on out, I feel like every game is a playoff game for a team like Georgia.
Yeah, I honestly could see that game being really, really close at half, and like you said, Jeremy, Mississippi State could be up at half, but I think in the second half, I think Georgia will probably run them out of the stadium just because of their depth and, just their sheer talent. All right, let's go next to Florida at Kentucky. It's in Kentucky. I know Florida kind of owns Kentucky, but Bo, what do you think?
Shockingly, I think this is one of the more intriguing games of the week. because you got a Kentucky team that's coming off of a huge conference win on the road. They come back home. They played Texas to overtime at home. They played, they played a really good half against Tennessee. They also played Ole Miss to a 7-point game at home earlier in the season. So Kentucky has played well in Lexington, and we'll see kind of how Stoops keeps the troops going. Because again, that's a guy battling for his job. Conversely, on the other side, Florida's already fired their coach, but we saw them rally and get up last week and play well. So you wonder, though, if they'll do that on the road against a lesser opponent, no head coach. It's just an interesting dynamic to me. Does Stoops take this, parlay this into another win, and then finish strong and end up keeping his job? Or do the Florida Gators end up kind of playing that spoiler here at the end of the season for a couple of teams?
Yeah, we'll see. I think this game, with Florida's coach gone, I think Florida's going to come out there and just whip them. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that Florida's going to go in there and probably win something like 31-17. Just my opinion.
Hey,
Scott.
And Chad, to your point real quick, sorry, Scott, but the line's like 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
I think it's Florida -3, so
got it. Feel it.
I'm gonna go ahead. They're gonna beat that spread. I think I'm with Chad. I think Florida's fired up. I think they lost a tough one last week to Georgia, and I liked what I saw out of them last week. There's a reason that head coach was fired. He refused to give up play calling, and after what I saw out of Florida last week, yeah, I think they're going to go. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say this: not only is Florida going to terrorize them, I think Stoops is fired the next day. He'll be this week's firing. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. Heck, it's happened just about every week this year. It's his turn. The only reason he got out of last week is because they went down to Auburn and won. I think it's his turn. I think this happens this week. I think Florida goes up there and just absolutely destroys them, and he's fired the next day.
Well, the series history says Florida should hammer them.
Yeah,
but even
Florida hasn't been Florida. So
yeah, well, even back in the days when Kentucky was pretty decent and had Hal Mumme and as a head coach, and then Rich Brooks. They still got hammered by some of those Florida teams, and those were some better Kentucky teams in our lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah, and Scott, I'm glad you said something about Auburn, because that's a good segue into our next game, Auburn at Vanderbilt. I see this one being very close. Auburn's defense is very good. It seems like Vandy's kind of going on a down trajectory. It seems like they had the big fourth quarter in Texas, but it seems it's that time of year for Vandy to kind of fade a little bit. Jeremy, what do you think?
Well, let's consider Vanderbilt doesn't have the most talented roster in the league. They may have one of the most well-constructed rosters for what they want to do, and given the fact they're a private school and they don't do the NIL in the way they do, Jerry Kill has done a masterful job running that offense. He is the architect. I know Clark Lee, I actually made a Facebook post, Clark Lee for Coach of the Year. But Jerry Kill is the architect of this offense. He had Diego Pavia at New Mexico State. He was at NIU before that. He had health problems. He had strokes. I don't know if you guys remember that, but he would have strokes during games, and his health got really his health was not good. So he got out of coaching for a while, came back, and this is what he's put together at Vanderbilt. But I like that point there that Vanderbilt is now in a stretch of games where there's so much film out on them now. They're running in some good defenses. Auburn getting 7.5. Yes, check. I like Auburn in the 7.5, and Auburn can pull this upset. I wouldn't even really call it that much of an upset based on player for player, but how the teams have performed, it would definitely be an upset. And also remember this too. It seems like every year or every game this year that the coach has been fired, the next game that team comes out locked in and plays very well. So I look for Auburn to go up there and play one of their better games of the season. Auburn outright. And we're going to Sprinkle that money line, boys and girls.
Scott, what you got on this one?
I agree with everything you said. I'm picking Vandy to win the game, but I do think, like he said, every time a head coach gets fired, that very same team comes out the next week. And don't forget, Alabama's got one coming up with LSU, and there was bye weeks involved in that. So I think that Auburn does go up there and gives them one hell of a game. And you don't know, like Vandy doesn't know what they're getting with Auburn. Hugh Freeze is gone, and you don't know what you're getting. Now, we do know that Auburn has a great defense. They really do. Auburn's defense is good. So will they be able to contain Pavia? That's probably the other side of the ball is what Vandy's defense against Auburn's offense, because again, you don't know what you're getting this week with Auburn offensively. You have no idea. We could see a completely different Auburn offense, and I expect to. I see a lot more running the ball. I see a lot more maybe rollouts, play action. I see Auburn doing a lot more than they had been doing, because Lord knows their offense, they weren't doing much at all with Freeze. So I do expect an uptick with the offense with them, but I do see I'm picking Vandy to win the game. I just feel like season wise they've gotten it together, but don't be surprised if Auburn wins this game. Don't.
Okay. Well, let's
I was just going to say, or just Scott, to your point on that, y'all might get mad at me for saying this, but I really like that Auburn team minus head coach, which is gone, and quarterback. I think they've got some good talent, and they've shown that all year. So just like you're saying, though, they've got the element of surprise. They can pull out. They can run some different sets. They can run some different things that with whoever's calling. I'm not even sure who's calling the plays this week for Auburn.
I don't either.
But they have. I mean, Auburn has an advantage of Vanderbilt not exactly knowing what's going to happen. Now, don't get me wrong. They're going to come out. They're going to stick to some bread and butter stuff they've done all year, because that's what you do. But they're going to throw some wrinkles. They're going to have some extra stuff that they probably haven't shown all year.
Well, let's kind of dive into this game a little bit more, since it's an in-state school. What does Auburn specifically have to do to go up to Nashville and get a win, Bo?
Well, they got to find some balance. I mean, Auburn's just so I say easy. Nothing is easy, but they're so much easier to defend because the threat of the passing game is just not there. It's just not. And, really, when you get your big plays in the passing game, usually it's not on straight dropbacks. Well, if it's straight dropbacks, a lot of times it's in the middle of the field. Auburn doesn't throw the ball well at all in the middle of the field. Or it's play action after you get the ground game going. So I just look at Auburn. If I'm Auburn, that's what I look at, is I try to go run the football, go play action, cut the field in half for Jackson. Jackson Arnold's starting for me. I wouldn't even go in another direction. If I'm making the call this week, Jackson Arnold's starting. He's playing the whole game. I'm making a concerted effort to run the football, and I'm going to play action off of my best 3 run plays, and I'm going to try to cut the field in half and make those throws easier for him. And if after read number 2 it's not there, check the ball down, get it out, and move.
All right.
Yeah, because, this is basically weakness versus weakness and strength versus strength. You got Auburn's offense as a weakness. You got Vanderbilt's defense as a weakness. Conversely, Scott, you got Vanderbilt's offense is their strength, and Auburn's defense is their strength. What do you see there that Auburn has to do to keep themselves in this game?
Simple. They've got to contain Pavia, keep him from running. They've got to keep him in the pocket. Go watch Alabama's tape. I thought Alabama did a pretty good job doing that this year versus last year. There's plenty of tape on that. And again, that's another reason I say if they're able to do that, and I think they can, then they've got a really good shot of winning this game. It's all going to come down to him, man. He's a general in that field, and the way he moves the ball, there's no, you've got to stop him from using his legs. If you make him throw the ball, you will beat him. You've got to keep him from running. He gets out easy, and once he's out, man, he's gone. And he's he's lethal with his legs, and he has been for 2 years. He's been there. He's been lethal with them. So Auburn's got to contain Pavia and keep him in the pocket. I think as long as they do that, they can get it done. Auburn can beat Vandy. They can.
Yeah, I agree. I think they can too. Bo?
But I also think that in saying all that, and I love what you said about Pavia. I love watching him run. That joker's like a linebacker that's got a little shifty in him. And I mean, he's got a big lower body. I mean, those legs are huge. He's shifty. He's quick. He's decisive. He doesn't make a ton of mistakes. I mean, he's going to have one or two, maybe three balls a game. You kind of go, but as far as him running that option, that ground game, I mean, he's incredibly hard to stop. Normally in this situation, Vanderbilt, better coached, better quarterback, and at home. But this is the most Auburn thing ever to do, is to win this game.
Yeah. After you lose a home game to Kentucky, I agree.
After you lose a home game to Kentucky, you can't score but 3 points. You go into Vanderbilt and you essentially end their season, and you get the faithful riled up, ready, chanting, "We want Bama."
Yep. All right. Well, let's move on. We'll go to arguably could be the best game of the weekend. Texas A&M at Missouri. Since Pribula's out, I don't know if Missouri's got much of a chance. Scott, what do you think?
No, you just said it right there. If the starting quarterback was playing, maybe I'd have a little bit of hope for him. But no, Texas A&M will take care of this. I don't see this being a big game. I don't. I think A&M wins easy. I don't think they're ever behind. I think they do what they do. They're very balanced. Again, without the starting quarterback there, I just don't have much hope for them at all. So I think this one's easy. It's an easy pick. A&M. What's the spread on that game?
6.5. And there's a lot of people that I'm in tune with they're all over Missouri, and I understand the home field advantage and this. A touchdown is kind of a big number to lay on the road, but I'm with you, Scott. I'll especially under a touchdown. I mean, A&M is just so multifaceted. They're so explosive. They're so balanced. They're so good. I mean, I look at their team and it's like when I watch teams play, I look for where are their deficiencies. Because every team has got weaknesses. Yes, Ohio State has weaknesses. They just hadn't played a team yet that can exploit it. I thought Texas actually did, but they couldn't finish. But every team has weaknesses. It's can that team exploit that weakness on that day? And A&M, just in my opinion, just watching all the games I've watched, I think they have the fewest weaknesses of maybe any team in the SEC.
I agree.
Yeah, I was trying to figure a way out that Mizzou could keep this close, and I can't come up with any situation. I think Texas A&M wins this going away, and Mizzou may get a late touchdown to make it look good.
Well, they can't. Yeah. Mizzou's not going to be able to keep up, I don't think. But it depends on how A&M wants to play it. Do they just want to run the ball and grind the game down and just run it out and get a win? Because, I mean, we saw that game in that Bama game. Their offense, their passing game, was not very good with Pribula. I mean, they missed a bunch. Right. They missed some stuff in that game, and I mean, what they got against Bama in that game was kind of given to them. I mean, they had the fumble. They started drive at the 20 going in.
Yeah.
They scored on their first possession of the game, and then they got a field goal the rest of the way. I mean, that was it. So, I mean, and to me, A&M right now is a more well-rounded, complete team than Alabama.
I agree. I can't disagree with that. All right, let's step out of conference for these next two, and we'll save the main event for last. BYU at Texas Tech. I think, Jeremy, to use your words, this is a loser leave town match. What say you?
Guns up. Guns up. I got to take the Red Raiders. I absolutely love Joey McGuire. That guy, a couple years ago, was coaching high school football in Texas. Now, he may have the second best team in the state of Texas. He could possibly have the best team in Texas. But the way he's reshaped that team, the way that they are so good up front, on both lines of scrimmage, because for years Texas Tech always they were running the run and shoot. They always had a reputation. They can score, can't stop a soul. Now they're running the football. They're more balanced on offense. They're better on their lines of scrimmage. They have a defense that can get stops. I mean, real legitimate stops. The game that really got my attention was when they went to Utah. And I think Devin Dampier is pretty dang good, the quarterback at Utah, transferred from New Mexico. Saw him play several times last year. And so they go to Utah with their backup quarterback. I can't remember if the quarterback got hurt during the game or they played the whole game with the quarterback. But anyway, with a backup quarterback, they went to Utah and beat Utah. And they just got stop after stop after stop after stop in that game. And I was like, man, this is a quality defensive team. So
Scott.
My opinion, big edge to Texas Tech, and the line's 10. If that tells you anything.
Scott, you got any love for the Mormons?
I'm all Texas Tech, man. I mean, I'm excited about them in the playoffs. Like, I want to see how deep they can go and who they get stuck with in the first round.
Playoffs.
You know what I mean?
Playoffs.
So, I'm all about them. Like I said, it's just going to all come down with them. It's just going to come down to who do they get stuck with in the first round.
Yeah, because I'm sure. Well, the winner of this is getting a home game, so I would assume the winner of this would get a home game, so they'll have that. So, for me, it would be who they play, in the bowl game. Because
right.
I mean, I would think
that too.
Anybody having to go to Texas Tech would. But you're right. Whoever they play, I mean, can't wait for next week because, like I said, one of these teams are going to be out.
Mm-hmm.
And just to say this, if Texas wins, Texas could get in there if one of those lose eventually. If they went out. So that's a discussion for another time. Let's go to Oregon at Iowa. The Ducks go into Iowa. Iowa can be a tough place to play. Ask Ohio State. Scott, what do you think?
As much as I'd like to say Iowa, Oregon, I think I probably have enough on Iowa to if I start talking about this game, it's going to sound like I'm pulling for Iowa. It's going to sound like I think Iowa is a thorn in a lot of these other Big Ten's side, if you will. They could definitely win the game, but I think Oregon right now understands and knows if they lose, they're out. They're not. I don't think they'll get in if they lose again. And I think they have Washington too coming up, which I think is going to be a hell of a game. They know they cannot lose this game. They've got to go in here knowing this is a playoff game for them, and that's why I'm picking them. At the end of the day, they know what's at stake in this game, and they have to win. They cannot lose this game.
I agree, Bo.
Sprinkling that money line. I love the Hawkeyes in this game. I do. I will say one of the two things is going to happen. Iowa's going to win outright, or Oregon's going to put it on them pretty good. I mean, I know, I'm basically sitting on the fence on that one, but hear me out on this. If Oregon takes the tack, hey, we learned our lesson last year, we're going to finish strong rather than start strong like we did last year and then peter out at the end of the season. Okay, they were not as good at the end of the season. I mean, they gave up like 550 yards of offense to Penn State last year. I mean, Penn State in that Big Ten championship scored like 38 or 41 points or so. I don't remember exactly what it was. But Penn State who, by the way, could not complete a pass to a receiver in a playoff game, which we mentioned that last week or on the last show. But they had well north of 500 yards in that game, and they were not nearly as good. So is Oregon taking the tact that we learned our lesson from last year because they beat Ohio State early and they got smoked by them in the Rose Bowl, and then didn't play well in that Big Ten championship game, and then they I think they had a game with Oregon State at the end, and they weren't as good. That they've learned their lesson and they're going to finish strong, or do they go to Kinnick with the pink locker rooms? It's supposed to the weather forecast I saw initially cold and sleet, and if that's the case, and Iowa gets that run game going, because this is the same Iowa team that lost by a touchdown to Indiana. They had Indiana beat. I want to say In that game, Iowa missed a field goal late, and then Indiana got the ball and went down and scored a touchdown in the last minute of the game, and won the game. And I think in some ways this is a really bad matchup for Oregon.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Iowa's going to win outright by 2 scores. That's going to be my guarantee of the week.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Iowa, 2 scores, wins it going away.
And the wave to the children's hospital, the wave to the kids at the children's hospital is going to be a sweet one this week for the Hawks.
They can wave to the children's hospital, that they can turn around and wave bye-bye to Oregon on the way out. That's my prediction.
There you go.
All right, boys. For the main event, your Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the LSU Tigers. I will start with Scott on this. What do you have for us?
Bud, this one is this one's going to be a little interesting. As I said earlier with the Auburn game, we're getting an LSU team that just fired their coach. They have not hit the field since. I think we're I don't know a whole lot about what's his name, Frank Wilson.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about him, but I know the guys like him a lot, and that's really all it takes for a week like this to come out and show some things. It'll be really interesting to see if they play both starting they play both quarterbacks, I should say. Again, I don't know. We don't know what LSU is going to come out throwing. We have no idea what they're going to do. I do expect them to play well. Their defense is already really good. I think they've got some key injuries on defense, if I'm not mistaken, but it's still really good. You can throw on them, and I expect us to do that. I think Simpson will have a decent game. We're not going to run the ball. We're not going to run it well. I'm going to go ahead and say that out loud. It's not going to happen. We're going to have to beat them in the air. And I think we can, and I think we will. I do think Alabama wins the game. But it's just that I don't know factor. What are we getting with LSU with Wilson as the coach? And here's a question for you guys, too. Like, you think Wilson is a candidate for that job down the road at the end of the year? Do y'all think he's actually going to get an interview? Do you think he'll actually be in consideration?
I would say let's see how these last 3 or 4 games go, and that'll be your answer. That's the short answer.
If they beat Bama, yes.
Yeah.
I actually think. Do y'all remember the 2021 game Ed Ogeron's last season at LSU? LSU came into Alabama, and Alabama only beat them 20-14, and LSU had the ball twice in the final 4 minutes in plus territory, and Alabama's defense made a play to kind of get them out of that game. I would not be surprised if this game was like this Saturday, real close. Bo.
Yeah.
A couple things here. Number one, Kalen DeBoer played for Frank Wilson in college. Frank Wilson was his position coach. I thought that was pretty awesome. I heard that today.
That is.
2, it's Bama. You know they're going to get up for that game, especially the way Bama embarrassed them last year. 3, how healthy is Nussmeier? He hasn't been healthy all year. I mean, we know that. We can watch him play and know that something's off. So, just like you're saying, I mean, so Brian Kelly's gone. I just wonder if this is one of those things where maybe now that maybe a lot of the players kind of didn't really jive with him and his personality, because it was pretty widely. Yeah, it was pretty widely known that he wasn't the hardest worker, and he didn't put the most into the program, and he didn't really buy into Louisiana in general. And I just wonder if the players knew that, and just, I mean, look, you can't lie to these guys. I mean, they can spot fake. I mean, they know. And I just wonder now if they feel like they got a Louisiana guy there, that they'll be juiced and ready to go. It's always a scary proposition with that. I mean, I would not be shocked at all if this is a 1-possession game, 4th quarter, and we're hanging on for dear life. I also wouldn't be shocked if going into the 4th quarter it's 38-13 and we're running the ball, killing the clock, because Alabama's passing game, like you said, we average about 120 a game. I mean, it's not like the the running game is just, pure, just an abomination. It's not just awful. The key to Bama's run game is, can we run it when we need to run it, and can we run it on the terms that we want to run it on? Because Alabama has done a phenomenal job all year, with the exception of South Carolina, controlling the game with their passing game and using short throws as just an extension of the run game. I guarantee you, if you look at the number of passes that Ty Simpson has completed 5 yards or less and attach that to a run game, you'd have a pretty significant number there.
Oh, for sure.
So, people make too big of a deal about that. Nobody runs the ball. I mean, I'm not saying it's not important, but again, it's, can you run it on your terms, and can you run it when you need to run it? When you're in a 4-minute offense and we got to pick up 3 first downs, can we run the ball enough and use the short passing game to pick up that yardage and kill that clock? To me, that's what's important. It's football at the college and pro level is a passing game. These teams are going to throw the ball somewhere between 60 and 70% of the time. That's just the way the direction football has gone, especially in college football. I mean, you routinely see these quarterbacks in the SEC attempting 42, 44, 46 passes a week. So, I don't get concerned about it. I just look at it as, when we get it down on the goal line, can we punch it in? When we got a 3rd and 1, can we slam it in there and get that first down? That's the kind of stuff I look at. We're in a 4-minute offense. We're trying to kill the clock. Can we run it enough to melt clock?
Yeah,
because that's the style of football we play.
Well, obviously, I'm gonna, pick Alabama, but I hope it's more of the 38-13 going into the fourth quarter, so I can relax and enjoy a bite to eat while I'm watching the game. But
well, the line's 10.
Yeah, that seems. I don't know for a home game. I think that's probably about right. But
honestly, I would take LSU and kind of cross my fingers, because Alabama has demonstrated they're not really a team that is they're going to play closer games, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Just
they're going to pull away.
The style in which they play, and the way they, they'll get into drives, and the way they run the clock, and there's probably fewer possessions and I don't know what it is. There's probably fewer possessions on average in an Alabama game because of that.
All right, well, real quick, boys, let's do our pillow fight of the week in the ACC between Florida State and Clemson. Scott, real quick, who you got?
Do I have to pick one? I mean,
what's the spread?
To.
Yes.
Yes. What's the spread on this game?
It doesn't matter what the spread is.
It came out at like 6.5. It's down to like 3.
Who's the favorite?
I think Clemson's like a field goal favorite now, but that's 6.5. It was gone. It was bet down to 3.5 by Monday. It came out on Sunday, and Florida State got pounded.
Yeah, God. I mean, if I got to pick one, I guess I'm picking Clemson, but I'm not confident in that at all. I mean, they're both terrible. These are supposed to be 2 of the strongest teams in the ACC, and this is an awful game. Like, I can't wait to see the ratings and how this went, because this is bad. This is just bad.
Boss, can I interject something? That's why it's called the pillow fight of the week.
Hey,
these are supposed to be 2 conference powers, and they're 2 doormats. I don't think Clemson won a conference game this year.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to pick them.
I think they're the only team. I think they're the only team in the conference that has not won a conference game, and Florida State's only won 1. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that. Florida State and Clemson have played 2/3 of their season, and between them, they have 1 conference win.
Wow. And both still have their coaches, by the way.
Yeah. Well, only because Norvell's buyout's like $50 million. That's the only reason he still has that job. I mean, it's outrageous. But I guess now that it's down to 3, I would take Clemson. But they just gave up like 46 to Duke at home.
Yeah.
So I don't have. I mean, I guess Death Valley is kind of like, I don't know, just the Shadow Valley now. I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. You can't call it Death Valley anymore because everybody goes in there and just hammers them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's outrageous what has happened to those two programs, and it couldn't happen to a better program in Florida State. Every time Florida State loses, I smile. You know, I don't revel in people's misery, but I love it when Florida State loses. I really do. And if anybody, you know, questions what I'm saying, go listen to the Bobby Bowden interview about the Seminoles joining the Southeastern Conference. And he himself said in an interview with Paul Feinbaum, he said there were two reasons that they joined the ACC rather than the SEC. The first one, he said, because they had more administration at the school that had ties to the Atlantic Coast Conference. I can buy that. I mean, I think that's legitimate. The second one was, he said that he thought, these are his words, you can look it up. I mean, I found it on YouTube myself. He said that he thought the SEC was just too tough, and he didn't know if they could hold up for a whole season playing in the Southeastern Conference, and their best path to win a championship was going into the Atlantic Coast Conference. And when I heard that, I just totally disregarded everything that Florida State's ever done.
Well, Bo, do you have any more best bets for the gambling degenerates out there real quick?
Well, I looked at a few this week, and it's still kind of early, but I like West Virginia at home. They seem to be playing better now. Rich Rod, the prodigal son, returns less than a touchdown. I really like that. I really like Iowa plus the 6.5. Sprinkle that money line. I like UConn plus the 10. Sprinkle that money line. I like the Kansas-Arizona over. I like Virginia at under a touchdown at home against Wake Forest. And I like the over in that pillow fight. It's 55.5. And I think that both teams will kind of I don't think they'll have a lot of problem finding the end zone in that one. Also, too, another one, I like the over in the Army-Temple game, and I also like Temple plus the 7, and Boston College plus 12.5. I know they're 1-8, but they've played better the last 2 weeks, and like we're getting a little bit of value there on the Eagles.
Yeah. All right, and one last thing before we head out, I'm going to give you 1 minute. I can't stand it. What do you got?
Well, I have two this week, and the first was Mississippi State winning their first conference game in 2 years. It was amazing. I mean, it's so good for those Mississippi State Bulldogs. And what you have to understand, the I can't stand it segment is just, it can be anything. It can be something funny. It can be something interesting. It can be something like, like Florida State losing their 9th conference game in a row, or somebody breaking a record or something like that. But just something that kind of caught my eye over the weekend that makes you look at it and just go, I can't stand it. It's so great. And then the second thing, that really caught my eye this weekend, pop quiz. What does $12 million buy you in college football?
Who? Besides
the answer
the Bugatti?
Is a quarterback that goes 12 for 23 for 145 yards and an interception. And those were Bryce Underwood's numbers at Michigan.
Wow.
So good luck with that, Wolverines, and your overrated program.
All right. Well, I guess, that's probably a good one to
Because I can't
end on.
stand it.
All right. Well, Mob, you hear that? Any Big Ten Michigan fans out there, let us know. Hey, anybody in the Mob, this show's for you guys. That's why we're here. We want to hear from you. Let us know, how big of an idiot we are for picking certain games. Put it in the comments. For the Chad Bolick, for Coach Bo, and for the boss Scott, we will see you next time on the 4th and 31 broadcast. Peace out.
Peace.